Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Garage Gym Experiment Podcast. My name is Adam, back again with Jake. He's in the garage, I'm in the basement, and today we are here to discuss some home gym issues that we got from the Sunday survey. We'll go into Chase's dilemma. We'll see what that is. I have a new product to pitch to Jake. So with that, we're going to give it to Jake. Jake, take it away. Welcome to the Garage Gym Experiment Podcast, where we dive deep into the home gym scene. Each week, we put out Sunday surveys where you tell us your thoughts on products, builds, and all things home gym related. We're here to break down the numbers and to talk shop. So thanks for listening, and let's get started.
Thank you, Adam. In this Black Friday era, we had some new product releases, which was somewhat surprising. So number one, the surplus strength speed pins. So these are basically your typical hitch pins, but they include magnets and don't have that little hook that helps keep it in place. So this helps you move around attachments quicker and easier. At $65 a pair, they're quite a bit cheaper than some of the other, stainless steel options like Oak Club. And then there's also some cheaper ones on Amazon. Not sure if you've seen people post about those as well. But so this is kind of in the mix, in the middle of that really expensive option and the cheap ones from Amazon that you just don't trust. And then lastly, I think they just look really good. So I actually just ordered a pair of these, took advantage of the Black Friday discount, and looking forward to playing with them. Any feedback, Adam?
No, and this is something like when you have a different rack style, like I'm sitting with a 2x2, they just don't come into play. And so when people post like all the excitement about them, it just doesn't strike a chord with me. But then, moving these larger attachments, it does seem like a pain in the butt sometimes. So I can see how it'd be cool.
Yeah. So for me personally, a lot of these larger attachments, and especially if you're like using something like a Rogue attachment for my rep rack, it's not always 1-to-1, so you really have to like jam it. I can see this being quite a bit easier to use, and again, they just look good. So
they do look good.
All right, next up, the Bridge Built Barbell Stable. So this one stores 12 barbells within a 32 by 18 inch footprint, and each part of the bar is protected by plastic. Again, this one just looks good as well. It is going to be too expensive for most. It starts out at $750 and then goes even higher with custom prices. What I really like about this is you do have the ability to store specialty bars, and it is pretty easy to move in and out. I think in a perfect world, you can see if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you can see I actually have one of these. I was lucky enough to grab the first one, I think. And in a perfect world, I would say probably only like 3 specialty bars and all the other ones straight bars. But I was able to get something like 5 straight bars, 2 multi-grip bars, an SSB, a Mars bar, and then 2 open trap bars on it. Overall, there were 12 and then I think there was a Duffalo bar as well. So it is possible to get all of them on there. It's a little bit jammed, but overall pretty cool. I don't think it's far-fetched to say that this is the nicest barbell holder in the world. So
it looks awesome. With like those big beefy, my favorite part about the Bridge Built J cups that they have, it's just that really thick, clear UHNW plastic they have. And you can see the bottoms lined with that. And then they have that spring locking holder at the top. Just kind of clicks in really nice. Looks awesome.
Yeah. I'll say the big questions that people have had are like, does it really hold the barbells? Are the barbells actually stable with that like spring clip? And I will say, like, there's an indent at the bottom, like a circular indent that holds the barbell just enough to where it's not like tipping quickly. But yeah, the barbells are really safe in there. Next up, updated Xebex ski trainers. So the big update here is it includes quick release handles so that different accessories can be used. So if you're looking on the picture, if you're thinking about your typical ski erg, you have two different handles where you use one hand at a time, basically, or both at the same time, but individual handles. For this example, you're able to add something like a lap bar, and it adds just some versatility. I definitely see myself attracted to this, just knowing that I use the ski erg a lot, and it'd be nice to change up the grips every once in a while. I think you could even do things like turn around and do like tricep extensions. So I would like to try one of these out. And then similar to current what they offer with just about all of their other cardio options is an eco and then also a smart connect option. Let's move on to the home gym issues survey portion. So this is something that we do every 6 months. And I honestly think that we might want to just move this to every year after this one, just because we're not seeing too many changes. Nevertheless, we broke this out into 4 sections. And then before I get into the results, just wanted to say that for this survey question, it's basically a list of issues that a home gym owner might face. And then you had the opportunity to select not an issue, minor issue, medium issue, or large issue. So we'll start with the very smallest issues. So all of these had a combined 9% or less medium plus large issues. That means over 91% or about 91% voted not an issue or minor issue. So the least issue, the smallest issue, I should say, is equipment aging quickly. Second lowest is working out safely. Number 3 is finishing workouts in a home gym. There we go. Next up, other small issues. So these were just a little bit larger issues than the first slide. So all of these had more than 5% large issue votes. So warming up for home workouts, concern about making too much noise, quality of equipment in home gym, and not enough lighting. All other really small issues, only, as I mentioned, less than 5% voting large issues. The medium issues on the screen include voters saying at least 64% are not an issue or minor issue. So keeping your home gym clean, distractions during home workouts, amount of equipment, and then the temperature control was the highest one here. And then just for reference, the temperature control only had 13% voting large issue. So still not too big of an issue for most people. And then we've said this in the last few surveys. We said this the last few times that we did this survey. The largest issue are easily price of obtaining more equipment and then lack of space. So these are far and away the biggest issues people face. So more than 64% voted these as at least a medium issue. But the price of obtaining was pretty easily the number one option, with about 33% saying large issue versus 27% for lack of space. So I don't think there's too much more to talk about that. We can probably get through that pretty quickly. I just want to say before we move on that in comparison to last May, we saw a 10% drop or a 10% increase in people voting not an issue when you tally all of these up. And then all of the other issues were smaller. So we're seeing less people voting all of these combined as issues, which is a good thing. Before we move on, Adam, was there any surprises there?
Yeah, there's a couple things that surprised me. If you don't mind clicking back a screen or two, one more. Yeah. Okay. One of them that got me was keeping the home gym clean being as much of an issue. And I started to kind of think about why that could be and why it isn't in my circumstance. And I think it's because with a lot of people with garage gyms and then maybe even the basement gym community as well, their gym serves more of a purpose than that space is like being used for other things as well. So I started thinking if I had other things going on in this space, it would be kind of difficult to keep it clean. But my space personally is just gym. And so that's one of my I can't keep anything clean except the gym. And I think it's just because, it's in my hobbies. But I thought maybe it's because with the garage gyms and there being like other things being stored in that area, it might be kind of tougher to keep it clean. I don't know. Do you struggle to keep your area clean?
So I would have said that this is one of the larger issues I personally have, keeping it clean. Keep in mind, I have a lot more than equipment than most people, but it's also like a place where people are coming in and out. So like, think about the kids coming home from school, dropping their bags in the middle, or like you have to keep in mind people are going in and out. I'm looking at shoes all over the place by the door. I've got like a trash bag that needs to go out to the trash. Or if I don't clean up my equipment and like somebody needs to bring in groceries or something like that, you have to like move around. Or, I've got a 1-year-old and a 7-year-old. There's certain pieces of equipment I don't necessarily want to just leave out for a long time because either a barbell can roll away if they push it, or like some things like that. So I think it gets cluttered easily, and it definitely makes it not as nice of a place to be if we're all outside.
Yeah.
So, and then, like you mentioned, I also have like a lawnmower and other things that aren't but the bikes, so there's quite a bit of things that are just typically laying around.
Yeah.
So,
see, one of my major issues is ceiling height. Not being able to press overhead, that is, while standing, is like one of my major issues I face. And every once in a while, I have this thought of like moving everything out to the garage, but I just can't do it because temperature control is huge for me. The fact that I don't have to deal with that in like right now in the wintertime. It's getting pretty cold. It's not winter yet, but it feels like it out there. And then in the summer as well, like in the basement, it stays pretty cool in the summer. So the fact that I don't have to battle any of that, and that I can just like always have the kids down here in a safe place where they have toys and things like that, it's just something I can't give up. But then looking at temperature control not being as big of as an issue as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a medium to large issue for more people than it was. So I thought I was really in the minority in that conversation, but turns out it's pretty spread out. Like there are still people with issues with that, of course, but not as many as I thought.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's, for whatever reason, I think that's gone down quite a bit since like we first started doing this. So let's do this. So for this survey, I did do like that. After all of the questions were asked, did I miss any issues? Ceiling height was definitely the number one thing that people mentioned. I kind of thought that as just think about that as space, but I do think we should just add that to this survey. Just ceiling height. Is that an issue? I'll do that this week and add it to this data. I want you to guess. Is it going to be, so there's 13 here, 3, 7, 11. So there's 13 issues here. What do you think it's going to rank?
Go back one. Let me look at just one. There you go.
Is it going to be worse than temperature control?
It's going to rank top 5 for sure. I'm going to say it's going to rank number 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Above distractions, below amount of equipment. So I think your top 5, just so people who are listening, they're not looking. It's going to be about the cost. It's going to be space. It's going to be temperature control, amount of equipment, and then ceiling height. That'd be my guess.
Okay. I'm thinking.
So I've been in a handful of garages. One personal garage gym that I had where ceiling height was an issue.
I think it's going to be number 4. I think 4.
Nice.
I want to say 3, but I'm going to think 4. Yeah. Okay. Just considering most people are garages.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then I think, let's see, what was I going to say? So I think something that is just like worth noting is only 1% said equipment aging is a large issue. Only 6% said amount of equipment is a large issue. And then only 4% are saying quality of equipment is a large issue. So like that to me is pretty important, because most people are filling their gyms with a decent amount of like Titan and Rep and other like cheaper quality companies. Like to me, that says like you don't necessarily have to go out and get like a Rogue or Sornex or any of that type of stuff. Most people are happy with what they're getting, and it's serving the job. So those are really low numbers for issues with equipment that are being purchased. So I thought that was pretty interesting. All right. So we'll see what we'll make sure to bring that up for the next podcast as to where the ceiling height issue lands before. All right. A couple more sections. Let's talk about Chase's dilemma. All right. So here is his setup. So I'll describe his setup. It is pretty loaded. It's got quite a bit of barbells. Looks like some specialty barbells, plyo box, good set of dumbbells. Looks like selectorized lat hold down.
Yeah.
Yeah, a nice lat tower, enough plates, sandbags, and then the rack is the T. It looks like the T2. It's a non 3x3 rack. Let's just say that, which is, it kind of doesn't really match the rest of the setup, but it kind of does. Anyways, here's the dilemma. So on an Instagram post about, are you going to buy anything for Black Friday? Chase says, I'm real close to pulling the trigger on the giant 3x3 flat foot rack. Just working on my speech to my wife so she won't kill me. And then I responded, you can use code GGE to save 10%. And then he said, man, that makes an even better deal. Thank you. And then he came back later and said, wife approved under the condition I purchased no equipment in 2023. Is 3x3 1-inch upgrade from a Titan T2 really worth that kind of or is it worth that kind of arrangement? And then I just said, that's a great question. Adam, before we see what happened, what should Chase do?
I already know what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What should he do? What would you do? What would you do? You've seen the setup now.
You're staring at it. You saw what I did. I had a lump sum of money just specifically for Garage Gym. I sold some big pieces. I had a lot of money, and I talked to you, Jake. I said, what should I do? Is it time to upgrade the rack, or should I X, Y, and Z? And I thought about it. You know, I'm sitting with my Rep PR 1100, and I went into Rack Builder. You know, I built my PR 5000 with all the bells and whistles. I could afford it. And I just got stuck right there. It felt like a one-to-one trade-off. It felt like I put in a lot of money and I'd be able to accomplish the same thing in my space. So I personally kept my 2x2 rack, and I was able to add a handful of things, and I can accomplish more in my space now than I could before. But Chase is a different situation. Like you saw his selectorized tower. He had a decent amount of dumbbells, things like that. I don't think he made a bad decision. What would I do? I kind of already told you. I think I would keep the rack to get more done. But
Gotcha. Well, yep. You stated the answer. He did end up going for that 3x3 rack, and he will be sitting on the sidelines in 2023. I just want to mention,
sweet though. That's a nice rack.
It does. I mean, he posted an Instagram, basically saying that it's a great rack and it's to the same quality that you would expect from someone like Rep or Titan, from this giant lifting who's a lesser known brand. So that is just something to keep in mind. And, even it doesn't it's still one of those things where it's like, I feel like you'd potentially miss out on other cool attachments, but does it feel like Rep's done with those like the all-in-one setup, or do you think those are those are going to keep coming and you don't want to miss out on that and buy something like this? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear you. I think Rep's next move, it looks like they're, I preface this after seeing what Gluck has going on, where he's got like his kind of Frankenstein thing where Aries is attached to his old PR5000 and he put barbell storage in between. Kind of makes me feel like Rep might go in the route of kind of like the Rogue Monster Cave, but like their version of it with their all-in-one to really get like creative with that, because they have so many different variations of attachments that you can go with. So I feel like they're going to keep building this thing out. It's all in one. Now it's going to be storage. Now it's going to be this. Now it's going to be that. I kind of see them going that route, but that doesn't mean you have to play that game.
No, it doesn't. And surely a lot of it will be able to be compatible with something like this. And
right. If you go 3x3 with 1-inch holes, like the idea is that you're in the same ballpark with all of these companies with their attachments.
Yeah, you would think. So anyways, I don't know if I would have done it. I don't think I would have. I think, I'd rather wait to see what 2023 has. But
I have faith in our boy Chase. He's gonna sweet talk his wife into a couple more purchases in 2023. Don't you think?
Man, I don't.
I think I hear the end of the story.
Or
he's a Purdue fan, I saw the flag. He's a smart guy. He can do it.
Smart guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Good luck, Chase.
Good luck, Chase.
All right. Lastly, product idea.
Product idea. I'm going to pitch to Jake this time of a product idea that I have had for a little while, and then it kind of came back to me when I was looking for something. So on it now, I even gave it a name, Jake. You like this name? It's band peg foot plate. Okay. So if you're in a rack like mine that doesn't have the ability to do band pegs on the bottom, okay, and you want to deadlift and be able to use band pegs so you can lift with bands, get that tension, stuff like that, and you don't want to spend $1,000 on like the Mike Bartow Power Center or something like that, and you also don't want a full deadlift platform, here's what I'm thinking, okay? I even went into Paint and made you a little diagram in the bottom. So top left, Titan sells the band peg holders for a deadlift platform. And so I want you to picture those, just what you loop your bands around over your bar on either side. And it would be something like a steel plate that you would step on. And then those band pegs would kind of like tee out on either side, would attach to either of those so that you could loop band pegs over, and you can just step on it, stand on it, and you can deadlift out in your open space with band pegs. Okay. That's the idea.
Okay. So you can, I get it. Where are the band pegs connected to?
The band pegs. So you'd have, if you see my picture there, where your feet would go, would be like a steel plate. And then it'd be a steel plate kind of perpendicularly crossing it on either end, where the band pegs would be on the ends of those. So you'd loop the band peg over to the other side of the barbell.
How tall is it?
It's on the floor. It's flat.
Okay, that's what I was trying to...
Yeah, so it's not like the Mike Bartow Power Center where you have like the succession of band pegs. They're on the floor like you would have on a deadlift platform, but you don't want to have a full deadlift platform in your space. This is something you could like take out of wall storage. It's just like leaned up in the corner somewhere, lay it flat, set your barbell down, loop your band pegs over it, and while you're standing on it, you pull against the band pegs. That makes sense?
I'm trying to figure out how the band pegs
you've done deadlift
stay there.
Yeah, you've done deadlift pulls with band pegs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that T part that comes out, the band pegs would be like drilled in, attached to whatever, welded on to the end of those T's. So you loop it on, come over to the other side.
Okay, so this is just, can you move it?
Yeah, you can move it. It's a steel plate.
Okay, so it's like a really thin steel plate. So it's,
yeah.
So
it kind of looks like a box, but like this is like the picture that I did in paint there is like the aerial. You're over the top, like looking down at it.
Yep.
And you stand on top of that middle part. Those band pegs are on the outside.
And then the other side is like blocks. Like would they come up?
No, it's flat. So you're looking at it straight down. Like that picture that I did, that's laying flat on the ground. You're not elevated at all. Okay?
Yep.
And then where those arrows say band pegs, that's where they're attached to those parts. And that's where your bands loop around. Just like a deadlift platform where there's one in the front, one behind. And
so it's like a little L's coming off the top?
Yeah. Very small.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So you can lean it up against the wall, it's out of the way.
Huh. I'm trying to think like...
So just like you'd see on a deadlift platform, right? Where there's one in front, one behind. Only you can't attach it to nothing. If you pull off that, it'll just come right off the ground. So what holds it to the ground to make it portable is just a steel plate so you can step on it. So as you're pulling up, the band pegs are the elastic staying down because you're stepping on the device that's holding them down.
You don't think this...
Well, it'd have to be thick,
you don't
right?
think
because if it was
it would
thin,
have to be somewhat thick, yeah.
It had to be somewhat thick. I'm thinking like, maybe even ½ inch. And thick.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm thinking
that was my question. So it's off the ground a tiny bit.
Technically, yeah, sure.
So you just need to make it wide enough so that your feet were...
Yeah, at least the pulling part of your feet. So at least... if you're deadlifting, it'd have to be, balls of your feet to your heel.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you can do with something like that.
Only thing that I had in mind would just be for pulling. So it'd be for deadlifts. You could do it. I wouldn't pull Olympic weightlifting against bands. I think that's a bad idea. But I would do positions against bands. So you'd work on like slow positions against bands. That's about it. It'd just be pulling. Deadlifting.
It'd be cool is if you could, you have a rack like yours and you could just put it in the middle of your PR 1100 and use it for like bench or squat.
There you go. Yeah.
You would just have to like
find some way to hold down the middle though. Because it's not like you lift up the whole rack every time. Slide it under.
That's what I was. You could, but that would be a pain.
But then to get it back out, it'd be a pain in the ass.
You'd have to, get it out, get all the weights off. Yeah,
all your weight storage off. Yeah.
So maybe there's a way to connect it in the middle. I don't know. I like the idea of just deadlift with band pegs wherever without a deadlift or without a platform. I like that idea. Because platforms are so expensive. They're either expensive or you have to DIY one. So I do like that. I still feel like I don't know how much that would cost. Like, what are you thinking price range?
It would have to be under $4. Realistically, with that thick of steel, it'd have to be under $4. Otherwise, a Mike Bartos Power Center is like $1,000. And like if I was like into like deadlifting more and heavier and being stronger, like that's $1,000 that I would be willing to spend. But that's just not how I train. So,
well, also like then it's there. Like I've said I've had a deadlift platform in my home gym for a while, and it was annoying. Like the fact that it came off the ground and you have to like move. Like if I wanted to move my bench across the gym, I'd have to like either go around it or like, there was just it was just like, it was not, I didn't like it in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people say, like when they build their own too.
Yeah. So
stall mats.
I think I'm going to say if you can get this in the like $300 range, I'm going to go 7.
Nice. But I think that's a good score for this idea.
But I think getting it to that price would be like hard.
Yeah, I know steel's expensive, but I couldn't tell you like how expensive.
Yeah, right.
And you know what I think? Like when I think about this idea, because so those band pegs that you can attach to your DIY platform are from that picture that I took up there. That's from Titan for like $85 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and so this would be like a pretty easy DIY project, I feel like. Maybe Kyle can build me a band peg foot plate. I'll take it out of wood.
Yeah.
I did look pretty heavy. I'd probably snap it. All those bands I put on it.
Right. I mean,
and then I had to buy a full set of bands. Damn.
The people that the market for this are the strongest people. Like a random person isn't. So like it would have to be solid.
And if you're really, that's what I was thinking. Like if you're really strong, you're probably gonna bend it. Yeah. Yeah. There's probably a way to make it work. But
maybe I'm gonna go 6.
Is going to go up.
No.
It's 7. All right, we'll take a 6.5. 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5.
All right, 6 3/4, guys.
I like it though. I mean,
thanks.
I think there's something there.
Hey, listeners out there, we struggle to come up with some of these product ideas. So if you want to DM GGE Jake or GGE Adam, and we'll pitch it to each other, feel free.
Yep. That's going to do it.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Did you like tonight's episode? Well, then be sure to keep your eye out for new episode releases wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay involved on our social media sites by following Garage Gym Experiment and taking part in our Sunday survey on Instagram so that you can be a part of these conversations. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Get involved in our website for all your home gym content needs. And alert, Home Gym Con coming up this spring. So keep tabs on Home Gym Con. You can do that by being part of Knurled News and for following Home Gym Con on Instagram. So with that, Jake, do you have anything left for the listeners?
Nope.
All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time. Bye.